to the show with your friend and mine. So tell me, Dr. Squee, who's it gonna be this time? We like to hear you talk, and we love to hear you listen. And if you are not subscribed, you won't know what you're missing. So welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Headphones up. Here we go. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Tonight, Squee welcomes... And now here's the man himself, Dr. Squee.
You know, it's when you watch your guest watching back your theme tune, you realize how self-indulgent it really truly is. But we will never mind that now. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. I'm Dr. Squee. This is my show. And tonight we're welcoming a chortle award winning comedian who hails all the way from Australia and has been delighting people all across the UK and beyond with the dark room. Please welcome to the Dr. Squee Show, Mr. John Robertson. How are you doing, sir?
Hey! Oh, what a joy. Hello. A pleasure to be here. Yeah, you got a good theme song.
Thanks, I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
It's really good. Out of interest, when it says, and tonight Squee welcomes, and there's a pause, is someone's name meant to appear there?
Did that not come through?
It was hilarious. I was like, oh, I wonder if it came through the other side, because that's why I went, it was funny over here.
I have no idea if it came out. I pressed the unmute button and I said it. Whether or not people heard it, I kind of usually find that out when I listen back to this later, because for anyone who's watching this live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever, it'll later go out on the radio show. So when I listen back to it, usually it's got me saying that. Occasionally it's like, well, that didn't work. I have no idea why.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like the Sydney Comedy Store years ago. They went through this period where they didn't want the MC doing the whole spiel. They wanted to, it was that sort of corporate office thing of like, no, we've got an announcement. So what would happen is you'd have this. You go, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sydney Comedy Store. And please welcome your host for this evening. Pause, and then you'd go, John Robertson. And then it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. Yours is much nicer, but that's just what I remembered at that time. I'm like, oh, because I did that at one point. Well, please welcome. And then I just came on, like, they're like, we don't know who you are, pal. The thing didn't tell us. So that was fun. How you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. Just very quickly before I forget, big shout out to Matt Lees, who does our theme tunes. Matt Lees Music. You can find the album Two Sides to Every Hero streaming everywhere now. So please do check it out and download it, because then he gets actually more than 0.6 of a pence per 100 downloads.
Yeah. No, that was a good stab at Spotify there. That's good. That works out.
I'm stabbing at them and then I will totally use them. So I'm part of the problem.
Mate, that's the entertainment industry in general. Oh, they're so immoral. That's so convenient. Where else are you going to get it? I feel you. Also, I've got food poisoning, so I am currently streaming everywhere. So thanks for this. It's a joy to be sitting down. Just sitting down on a chair without a hole in the middle of it it's a rare and exciting experience today.
Part sitting down, part plugging.
Yes. Well, I think after a while enough comes out that the thing does just decide. So the chair might be gradually forming a small pyramid inside me as we speak. It depends how uncomfortable I get during this, I suppose, whether it decides to sort of like a wedding ring on a swollen finger, just kind of, but we'll find out. We'll see.
You see, I'm also trying to tread a line here, because usually we're quite fruity and quite sweary goodness here on the Dr. Squee Show. However, I am aware we're going out just after 6, which is earlier than we usually do. Am I going to follow up on you saying coming out everywhere? Like I didn't realize that was part of food poisoning.
6 o'clock. Oh, shittity cunt fuck ass bugger. What are we going to do? How the fuck are we going to cope after 6 o'clock? My God, the children will be watching. We got to swear. Kids love that. Kids love that shit.
Look, I'm covered now because I tried. So now it's just like if it happened, it happened.
You tried to do shit. You went, oh, normally we swear. And I was like, okay, well, I want you to feel comfortable on your own show. So there we go.
Yeah. There you
Fuckity
go.
bums.
That's not bad.
There you
Fuckity
better.
bums.
Fuckity bums. There you go.
So we mentioned you're Australian, and now we've confirmed it.
Indeed. You've had a look at my birth records. I said that seems intrusive and racist, but you gave it a shot. You've had a good time.
It's more the casual use of the word. Well, let's face it, cunt.
Yeah. I love the fact that people in Britain think they casually use the word cunt, and it's not true. It's like, oh no, you use it on special occasions. You know, we use it daily. You know,
The truth is, Americans think Britons use the word casually. We think we use it okay. We know we're not anywhere near the ballpark of Australia.
well, it's funny. I just watched the American doco, The History of Swearing, with Nicolas Cage in it. It's very funny, but they've got an episode about the word fuck. And they're just all going, well, you know, fuck is just the most offensive word that you can say. And they're like, is the word cunt the sound barrier? What is this? Do they not know about this great demon that lives between the legs? And this went on. And at one point, London Hughes, who's a UK comic, she's on there and she says cunt. And I'm there going, the entire time, I'm like, so that's the episode. I'm like, what? I'm like, really? I don't understand how fuck, which is just a really useful verb, is considered, you know, in anyone's idea, the more offensive word. See, it's like that thing where it's like, you know, the word cunt doesn't mean vagina, it means cunt, you know, and it's an interesting thing. It's just a cutting, thumping word. It's just it's viscerally, you know, it's a good beating thing, and then Australians sort of can use it as a happy noun. You know, you're a good cunt, you're a sick cunt, yeah.
I'm just glad that now when I use the term the demon between your legs with my good lady Nicola, that she can't, like, look, we've established that is just what it's called.
Don't trust me for any reason. What a great authority. No, so yeah, and who said this would be appropriate? Oh, that nice man who kept swearing when I told him it was early in the day. He seemed like the person to listen to. Yeah.
I've taken worse advice from lesser people. Trust me.
Oh, you. There's no such thing as lesser people. There's a lot such thing as worse advice. Oh yeah, we've all taken pretty shabby advice in our time. My lord.
You say there's no such thing as lesser people. There's some of my friends you haven't met. Trust me.
Oh well, I don't want to. They sound pathetic and like they're nothing. Brush them aside like they're matchsticks. That's what I say. These lesser people you describe. Let's thump ourselves through them. Yeah, no, I don't know. People are pretty good. I'm aware of my own bloody failings and shambolic nature. I literally rolled out of bed, which is in the next room, to do this. So that's good. And there was no demon between my legs. So, you know, I had no good reason for being there at this hour of the day. Nevertheless.
Well, let's do an interview. Sort of.
Oh, yeah, no, sure. Oh, look, mate, most days I'm delighted. I just sort of walk into this room and I look into my computer. I'm like, well, whatever it is, it's good. Whatever's happening there, that's an adventure. So this is great.
Yeah, that's how I treat these. Like, they're talking to the likes of you and the wonderful Professor Elemental.
You.
The wonderful likes of you.
No, you've lowered yourself.
I just put you in the same league as Professor Elemental. That is only a compliment.
Oh, I love that guy. We've been in the same caravan. Well, he's a beautiful boy. I love Professor Elemental.
Yeah, you weren't staying in the same caravan. You've just been in the same caravan, and that's all we're allowed to say for legal reasons.
Well, no, that's entirely fucking true. We weren't in the same caravan. He was in the caravan next door. We'd say hello to each other. I went into his caravan to look at his DJ, and he refused to come back into mine. It was great.
To look at his DJ again. It's
his DJ. Yeah. That's it. His diminutive Johnny. I believe that's what that stands for. Yeah, it's got a helmet. It's got a little pith helmet. You wouldn't expect it. It's lovely.
I kind of would from him.
Yeah, of course you fucking would. Yeah. Oh, look, I wonder if when he fucks, he steam pumps. I have a feeling. I've got a feeling whatever it is, it's got a cog on it. I love him. I cannot express enough my admiration for Professor Elemental. I adore him. And him and the other proponent of Chap Hop, Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. I love both of those guys. And it's a joy. I mean, the event that we know each other from, Sci-Fi Weekender, one of the joys of my life is I've met both of them there and gotten to hang out with them. It's bloody lovely. Bloody lovely.
The thing I enjoyed when I did speak to him was that he talked about the genre of chap hop of which there are 6 people in. And I love any genre which consists of 6 people as the artist.
Of course you do. And you should. You absolutely should. Because, well, but in that 6 people, there'll be at least one that the others are like, oh, that's not real chap hop, you know. And trust me, like with any niche hobby, you know, like there's gatekeeping, which is toxic and uninteresting, right? But then there's an artistic movement of which you have several proponents, right? And then like there's always that one person where you're like, oh, what are you doing, you jerk? You know, it's like Salvador Dali with the surrealists, you know, because the surrealists are all hanging out going, well, look, we're really politicized, we're really left wing, we're just sort of doing these things that are just experiments with form. And then Dali comes and goes, hey, Spanish Civil War's on. I reckon the fascists are okay. What do you guys reckon? They're like, we reckon fuck off. Yeah, I'm just being a deliberate jerk. I just sold a design to Chupa Chups. I was like, get out of here, you commercial monster. You're just being a hideous troll. I'm now going to claim I am surrealism. Fuck off, Salvador. You know? Did you know about any of that?
I've heard that you had some shady shit in there. Let's just say. I didn't know all that. But.
I figured out with him what he does is he just looks at what's going to annoy his surroundings the most and says it. And it's like, oh no, this bloke's a tiresome asshole. You know, it's like there's a clip of him showing up on the Dick Cavett show in the 70s, and he brings an anteater, right? And he just throws this anteater, you know, just throws it down. It's on a lead, and this lovely old actress who's being interviewed just goes, oh, the poor thing's terrified. She's not even remotely impressed. She's sort of like, well, I don't know who you are, septuagenarian with a fine moustache, but there's now this very upset anteater crawling around to no great comedy, and it's kind of fun. It's one of those things where you go, I mean, I've been guilty of throwing the anteater. You know, that's what you do when it's like you got nothing to say. Hey.
Throwing the anteater, that has got to be an Australian euphemism for having a wank.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, mate, always throwing the anteater. Always throwing the anteater. Although the sad thing is once it vomits, it doesn't pick it back up with its tongue. So, you know. I mean, you could do it near the anthill, I suppose. Then it would really work. You know, it's that thing of when you're so lonely. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, throwing the anteater is when you're so lonely, you go out down the backyard, you find the ant hive, you know, and you just kind of right on top of it, a bit of douse of the old white rain, not quite snow, a little bit too warm. And, you know, gradually they crawl up your legs and bite you, and you don't feel alone anymore. You feel pain.
Who hasn't had that time-on tale?
Well, yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I believe that was released over here as the never-ending story. I'm fairly certain. That's very universal, you know, to go there and tug the luck dragon, to watch the horse drown. That's one of my favorites. Love watching the horse drown. In terms of euphemisms for having a wank, watching the horse drown, yeah. Riding the bastion, good. Pretty good.
Yeah. And Flog the Dolphin's pretty good one. I like that one.
Flogging the Dolphin.
Atmospheric, I feel.
How has it wronged you? You monster, to go down the sea and just beat up the beautiful cetaceans. Cetacean needed. That's what I like for flogging the dolphin. Yeah, the old well-cited Wikipedia wank. Why not? There we are. Yes. Ah, good God. Good Lord.
Sir.
Yeah, mate.
Let's go back to where you kind of started off with it. Like, okay. I take you started performing in Australia and then followed it to the UK afterwards. Like, how did that kind of all kick off for you?
Oh, well, it depends how far back you want to go. But the potted history is I used to go to an anime club, which was huge fun, and I'd go and just, you know, when a show that was on that we didn't think was very good, me and my little friends would go outside, and of course you just monkeying around, you know. And I used to love like putting on little shows for my mates, and you know, it was fun to do. And there was a really nice girl there. And this is when we were young enough that we were boys and girls, you know, and cute little thing. And when I went to uni, this girl who it turned out had been at the anime club for years, but had never spoken to me, was in front of me in the line for one of the lectures. And she greeted me and went, "Your name is John. You are very loud." That was her. And she became my best friend in very short order. And she was like, "Oh, you should do stand-up." And to impress her, I did. I gave it a go, and I stopped impressing her pretty rapidly. I was pretty useless for a fair spread of years, but I was good at, you know, not good at comedy in any way. I was good at getting everyone's attention. I just had nothing to back it up. You know, like I was that kind of anteater. It's like, oh, great. So you throw it. What are you going to do now? I'm just a kid.
So you started with the volume and worked your way back to comedy.
If I found any, oh my God. I mean, I was just a 17-year-old boy who thought his thoughts were interesting. And I'll tell you something, I've met 17-year-old boys. They're not, like it's that marvelous moment of going, no, the one who's not saying a lot, I'd like to hear more from that one. And the one that keeps talking, can you just fuck off and die? You remind me of myself, Can you do that? I'd like to sometimes, could you? Right. So I was a bit, just a bit annoying and a bit flamboyant, but I went and I took that idea over to Australian Idol, the talent show, and spasmed on the ground. Like I sang a dirge to Australia's war dead called God Help Me, I Was Only 19. And then I just threw myself in the air and started going, bad, 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 because the bad is the wad. And then just thumped onto my back and just writhed around. It's a pretty shabby breakdancing. Said some sort of subpar Frank Zappa pastiche. And
wait a minute. I just want to guess where the story's going. How were the finals?
We watched them because I was still aired on them. It was great. They played that on TV 12 times and I got what I wanted, which was a little bit of notoriety and attention. My wife had watched that episode, the episode where I first showed up. And that was the thing we talked about the first day we met. So that was useful. That was good to do. Hell of a pickup line. I've seen you. Australian Idol guy was her exact greeting, which was nice. A lot of people didn't greet me off the back of that, but they knew who I was, which was nice. They'd sort of go, oh, yeah. There was a lot of that on the street for a while. I was like, yep. Okay, that bloke. We saw him wrapped in a flag and screaming, I was like, cool. I was treated with all the dignity that accorded. And then, after many, many years of kind of learning my craft and learning how to just sort of growing up and trying to take surrealism, which I liked, and nerdy stuff, which I adore, and cosplay and all that. I started working for sci-fi conventions, hosting their cosplay shows, which was a magical way to make a living. That's I've had a lot of really interesting interviews about EVA foam, and just really great stuff, right? Because I admire cosplay as an art form. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And
I don't get how to do it myself at all, but I've hosted panels and they're just the loveliest people. The level of detail they get.
Yeah. The universal experience of hosting cosplay shows in Australia is the crowd are super duper loving. The people are super duper interesting, right? Okay. And I mean that like experts are experts and it's amazing. And anyone who's an amateur just having a go is really just having a go. And that's beautiful, right? And you can make these really high octane, fun things. And it ends up being great. But like the universal experience of it is getting like someone in colossal armor dressed like Darth Vader, right? And then when you interview them, you're like, all right, so, Darth, do you just want to do us I Am Your Father? And you just hear this really Aussie voice go, I'm your dad. You're like, great. I love that. Like, I never get sick of that when that happens. It's really cool. But yeah, I was doing all of that, and I was doing a lot of for a while. I was doing a lot of club stand up. I'd learned how to be a guy who can stand in a rugby club and be like, all right, everyone, look at me, and we're gonna have a great war. Shut the fuck up, mate. And there's a career in that. You can make a lot of money. They won't put you on TV, but there's a lot of rugby clubs, and they need a bloke who's a bit smaller than the others to go, shut the fuck up, mate. And they go, ha, the little bloke's telling us we're fucked. Yeah. So I did that. And then I came to the Edinburgh Fringe in 2010. And we discovered there, it's like, oh no, you can do anything you want. So we took that kind of high octane style and made a show called A Nifty History of Evil, which was just about 2,000 years of evil, and just the Marquis de Sade, and I had puppets and stuff. And I'm just doing that late at night in Scottish bars. And that worked. And I'm like, well, we like this country, They didn't stop paying attention the second it wasn't entirely about them, like, wow. So then after that, I keep coming here every year. And then in 2013 moved here. And I create in the middle of that, we created a live action video game called The Dark Room, which is the kind of probably the apogee of the nerd stuff and the bullshit in your face stuff coming together of what I do. And and that's been touring around all sorts of stuff. I've got, get ready for this. I've got the worst possible fucking thing as well. Somewhere in the middle of that, I found the time to go and be a children's author and get a book published by Puffin, of which I probably own more copies of this than anyone on the planet. So do feel free to go get one, won't you, folks? They're getting a little
What's the name of it? Where do they get it?
It's called the little town of Marrowville. Yeah, you can get that anywhere you want. Literally any service will have it. It's on Audible as well. I do the audio book. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I love this country because it gave me the permission to do whatever I wanted artistically. This country believes in daftness. And as a result, the second somebody threw that at me as an insult, I was like, daft is the least offensive word I've ever been called. I like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and what more perfect than to start with Scotland? Like whether it's Scotland or Ireland or basically anywhere but England. I think we've got a good sense of humor here in England, but they just don't give a fuck when they're going for it in Scotland and Ireland and Wales. They will really fucking go for it. They're beautiful for it. They're lovely. They have no kind of like oh well, maybe we should be a bit reserved. No, fuck it. It's funny. We'll laugh.
It's interesting because the UK is a place where, because people work very fucking hard, right? And I mean, they do in Australia as well, but this is the first place I've ever seen people really super duper care about what's going on Saturday night. What am I doing on my weekend? It's when you see like people getting dragged out of comedy clubs and they're pissed going, "You've ruined my night." And it's like, okay, well, you've ruined our show. What do you reckon? Who do you reckon hurts more? Who do you reckon's gonna hurt more? This sort of thing. I'll tell you what, the bouncer isn't holding me. Bye, mate. That sort of thing. What I really like is when I first came over here, I had total misconceptions about the place. And I'd had a really bad gig when I was younger, like a lot younger, at an expat golf club in Perth, Western Australia, right? Which was all just, it was a lot of plumbers who this was a big thing for a while in Australia. You'd get a lot of money over here, you'd save up, you'd wait till the dollar was low, and people would go to Perth and buy big houses and become members of country clubs, and all these people really were just kind of prosaic down the line, like anyone here, like, oh, trying to go have a nice time, great. We've paid the money, give us a nice time. And if you give those people a nice time, they fucking love it. And if you give those people a bad time, they resent it very much, right? Yeah. And it was a night where there were 9 acts on, all died the death. I died on my fucking hole. And then I was so bad with UK accents that I came up here and I had this the first time in like 2010, I had an unreasonable fear of the North. Because in my mind, these were all people from Yorkshire. I could look back, it's like, no, I live in London. I recognize that voice. That was all my neighbors. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid to go, wow, the mild trauma of having a halfway bad gig. And then for years I was kind of like, oh shit, I gotta go to Yorkshire. Oh no. And that's so dumb because I mean the North particularly is such a welcoming, fun place. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, the creativity in Manchester. I mean, that's the Midlands, but obviously, I know a lot of people in Manchester acting like it's the North. So
sorry, John. I'm from Southampton, so this side of London. The way we look at the map, and this is just a rough guide as a Southerner, is you've got the South, London, the North. I believe that's a very detailed map of the UK as far as I understand it.
It's pretty good. Well, as far as Megabus goes, as far as my chosen chariot, yep, that's about right. That's about right. I understand in the 5.5 hours, because you don't bother with miles, just go with time. In the 5.5 hours between here and Manchester, there are probably some other places. No idea.
I'll take your word for that. I think Leeds is somewhere about there. I don't know.
Oh, I love Leeds. I fucking love Leeds. I love to go to Leeds. I love to go to the Birmingham NEC. No diss on Birmingham. The NEC is one of the best places I've ever been to. I love it. Birmingham is a shithole, but Birmingham, the event space is phenomenal. It's so good. And it doesn't matter how many gigs I do there. You can always go, my God, how nice to be at the Birmingham NEC and not in Birmingham. And the crowd will pop. And they're all from Birmingham. They're like, yeah. We're getting arrested.
Yeah, our place is shit. Yay, we live in a shithole.
Well, but I'm from a shithole. The nice thing about being a stand-up is that anywhere's a shithole. You can make anywhere a shithole just by saying it's a shithole. It's amazing how that works. Some shitholes are luxurious and they're very rich and they're so out of touch and they'd have no idea about the rest of the world. And some places are, oh, you're so inbred, you rustic people. And it's interesting that you can do that just about anywhere. You can convince people of just about anything. It's a bit of fun.
My favorite punchline of Southampton is like, it says on the sign as you're coming into it, it's at least we're not Portsmouth. Meh, and it's just guys shrugging on it.
Yep.
That's our motto.
Well, I really like with Portsmouth. There's a sign at the train station when you come in, which says Portsmouth, a great place to visit. And I was like, well, that's a lesson.
Was there half the sign missing where it used to say, but I wouldn't want to live there?
Yep. Oh, mate, just the fact that you can see the people coming in at the end of rush hour looking up like, yeah, I'd like to move. I don't want to be here, So,
I do want to talk some Darkroom. I want to get onto that, but we've got a couple of messages, so let's just put them up there. Mark says, hi, missed you guys. Love you guys. We love you too. We miss you very much, Mark. Mr. Damien J, he's put some emojis which are too small for me to read right now.
He says you're awake to find yourself in a dark room. I recognize those ones. Thanks, Damien.
I'm reading in very small letters on my iPad. And Glunga701 has put, want to become famous? 5 followers and viewers on that link.
Yeah, you gotta ban that bloke. You know what that is.
I mean, thank you, but I think I can fail to become famous on my own. Thank you very much. Don't tell me how to do my business.
Yeah, prick. Well, I mean, I just did. Sorry. Look, I spent the last year and a bit on Twitch, so I get really fucking. What's this, Damien? I also just heard you claim Manchester was in the Midlands, John. I've heard people in Manchester claim that.
Yeah.
Oh.
If it's not this side of London, the north. That's it, okay? Just keep it simple, people. Why are you complicating these things?
Yeah, but again, I love the north, and it's one of those. One thing I really bloody adore about the UK, right, is the amount of places that you can go. You can meet people who are spectacularly talented and spectacularly creative people, and they kind of have the good grace to sort of be like, oh yeah, and that's it. That's it about it. It's like, oh yeah, I guess I do that. They're never snooty about it. And it's one of those things of going, they've survived being told their lies. Oh, that's have got no value. That's no use, right? And I relate to that. I mean, my parents were always really super nice to me, and anyone I've ever been with has been super nice. But Australian culture is kind of, yeah, I haven't heard of you. I don't know who you are. That makes it bad. What? It's always the kind of, yeah, what? Whereas, yeah, over here, like when people say, what do you do? And I go, oh, comedian. They go, They don't ask for a joke or anything. They go, oh, yeah. Like they just sort of look me up and down and go, yep, that makes sense. And they don't even ask the follow-up question. They don't go, you make any money out of that? That's an Australian thing to do. They just sort of go, oh, cool.
The only thing I would say, you're just missing the British nuance of it. English nuance. I'll just go ahead and say it. Especially Southern English nuance of it. Whereby us going, yeah, cool, as in, I wasn't expecting that. I'm very scared by that answer. I will now bail from this conversation. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. And we will run away.
I like that. Oh, my God. So, somebody parachuting out of a conversation without me noticing is a wonderful thing to do. What a skill. I think I'm still talking like the sign that let's put it this way. One of the things that I love about Australia is when somebody receives information that they don't know anything about, right? But they don't necessarily think is bad. What they do is they do this. They go, that's different. And that's a great statement because what it means is I've never heard of that. I don't know if I want to any further. And in some way, please understand, you are wrong. It's good. I remember at one point, there was a guy, last time I was back over, we had a great time. Bloke comes up and he goes, you just get up on stage, you just sort of make it up, don't you, mate? And I was like, yeah, that's what I did. And he's like, you sort of attack everyone. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that's different. And it's one of those things of going, no, it's not. It's Don Rickles' set, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm just doing an old American bloke from 70 years ago. Yeah, I'm a genius. I invented getting drunk and angry. Oh, no one had ever thought of it before.
Hey, maybe not invented, but sir, you have perfected it.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I look forward to getting even drunker and angrier, and then we'll reach new apogees of bad behavior. It's going to be great.
Hey, look, when you're top of the game, you've only got yourself to beat.
Oh, Jesus, if this is the top of the game, how do I pay rent? Oh, no.
Oh, fucking no. Look. Oh, you got into arts to get paid? Fucking good luck, buddy.
Well, thanks, pal. But I don't know. I don't like it when people. So, there was actually a mate of mine was very good because he just went, John, you could have gone into banking, and he goes, it is actually easier. It's like, oh, cool. I didn't know that. But I do quite like doing things like sitting around the house just wearing tracksuit pants, like a lot. That stuff pleases me. I love what I do. I love sitting down and streaming and getting to do strange things, and no one's my boss, and it's a great way to live. Let's put it that way.
Message from Sarah Kirk. I've only just become aware of you by watching this podcast, but I like you.
Thank you, Sarah Kirk. I've only become aware of you through you watching this podcast, and I like you as well. This is a miracle. I love it when people come together in this manner. Thank you.
There's no money, but the validation is what we really crave. And
you say there's no money? You think there's no money? Here you go. Yeah, hi, Sarah. Right. Just want to go give us a follow at Twitch. Just there, mate. Twitch.tv/Robertson. Pop on by. Thank you. That'd be nice.
By the way, we here at the Dr. Squee Show have got a Facebook, Twitch page. Just follow us wherever, please.
Don't pay any attention to that. Twitch.tv/Robertson. That's where it's at. That's the good shit.
I've got banners, mate.
That's nice for you. That's okay. I don't have to come out from behind this. I'm actually in witness protection.
I've never had an interview go so poorly. Someone wants to go into witness protection halfway through my fucking questions.
I have no idea about the nature of it. My voice has been disguised. No one will ever find me. I've gone onto the internet. There we go. Boom. Of course, I mean, to be honest, if you do want to go into witness protection, the UK comedy scene's actually not that bad a place to go, but nevertheless.
The Darkroom, sir. Come on, we got to get on to it.
Sure, man.
It is fucking phenomenal. And my favorite part of it is you watch it, you don't know what the fuck's going on for at least the first couple of times watching it, but you know you enjoy it straight away. How do you do? And then how do you fucking describe this to anyone? This is the only flaw in your plan, because if you get people in front of it, they will love it. But when you're then trying to describe it to your mates, it's like, yeah, there's a guy and he talks about his dark room and he's got the screen behind him and you've got options and all of them lead to ruin. The only person who's only ever bested him is Ethan, but he doesn't like it to talk about him.
Well, look. Yeah. You sound like me talking to TV commissioners. It's the world's only live action video game. This is how I tell people. This was the old spiel from doing it at Edinburgh Fringe, right? It's the world's only live action video game. You come in, all the lights go down. I will suddenly appear with a great deal of leather and a different voice. 4 options will appear behind me on the screen. People in the crowd pick up the options, try to escape. If they succeed, great prizes. If they fail, you die, you die, you die. At the end, everyone plays together. It's a kind of rock and roll, retro gaming, interactive game show sort of a thing. And by that point, they either want to go to it or they've left. So
I feel like the spirits of rock from the 80s fucked a video game and the Darkroom was born.
That works. That works nicely. Yeah. Yeah, it's a kind of
But when I tried to describe that to my mum, she just looked vacant.
That's life. That happens. And yeah, look, mate, it's one of those things where I used to think that it was something that could only be pitched, to fellow nerds. And then I had a beautiful agent, Charlotte, who was like, no, this is for everyone. And she just wrote the copy down, and it was so subtle. It was just her saying, come play. She just invited people to come play. So what they do is they go, oh, it's some sort of game, but it's a show, like a game show. Well, I like game shows. And then they show up. And then it's like, hey, he's attacking that guy. I like it when he attacks someone else. Hey, someone else. Hey, now it's me. Yay! And it's also as well. I think one of the things I'm proudest of with the Darkroom is we get a really diverse crowd. Like we get a beautiful diverse crowd. We get a huge amount of different identities. We get a lot of disabled people. We get a lot of neurodivergent people, right? And it's a combination of a really foul and profane and violent interactive space, but it's also inclusive and safe, and that's a nice thing to do. It's one of those things like when I go and I attack people, right? If, for instance, okay, I've gotten a pretty good sense of what people want to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't go like one of the nice things is when you go past people, you could just sort of go, you're currently having a panic attack. And they sort of go, yeah, I am. It's like, you don't have to keep playing with that person. And they're very grateful for that, you know?
Yeah.
But then when you do, but the thing is, when you do play with someone who, you know, whatever the nature of their disability might be, right? It's interesting because you let them introduce whatever they want into the show. And that stuff's great. Like the funniest, darkest people I've ever met are severely disabled people. So, you know, like quadriplegic people or the terminally ill. And if you just let people give you whatever they want to put in, you get some marvelous bloody results. It's a wonderful thing.
I mean,
well, let's put it this way. It's beautiful, but also it's that thing of going, what's just come out of that person's mouth, out of my mouth, would have been the most offensive thing anyone had ever heard. And since you've said it, it's almost life-affirming, and how foul that was. It's great.
It's just that wonderful feeling I just generally get from sci-fi events, but it's kind of personified by the Darkroom and so many of these other acts. That it's like, yeah, even if people are taking the piss out of you, it's in that safe space of that event. It's, you know, you're all mates there. It's just kind of implicit. But it kind of pours out of that, just the love through the attacks. Like some of the attacks you do can seem quite savage, but you just know it's pouring with love. And I don't know how you managed to inject that in.
Well, it's because I don't hate someone, you know, like if you really hate somebody and it's a you know, and it veers into being an unfunny thing, that's no good, right? Like I hate very, very large concepts, and that can be entertaining. You know, to rail against, I can't believe that the government has done this, or I can't believe that, you know, these people with money have done this, right? But at a sci-fi convention, at some point or another, you have to agree with the fact it's like, we're all badly socialized. You know, each and every one of us, we are all a beautiful myriad of extreme interests that we've thrown ourselves into in our lives, and we shouldn't be around normal people, you know? We've gathered together in a place that's appropriate for us, and off the back of that comes the love because there's an understanding.
Yes.
You know?
I think we're too beautiful for those normies anyway. Like, they don't deserve us.
One thing I find really funny is a race to declare somebody not special enough to participate in niche activities. So it's that thing of going, oh, the normies. It's like, oh, come on, who the fuck are you? You think everything you've ever done is reasonable, you know? It's so strange when people try to gatekeep oddity. It was like this like little bunch of Melbourne teeny cosplayers about 1 million years ago, right? They all they were just standing near me, right? And they all just like put one finger under their nose because that was the internet trend at the time. It was like they had a mustache, right? And one of them went, "You probably don't even know what we're doing." And I was like, "Is it some really tedious trolling shit?" And they were sort of like, "Oh." You know, it's like, how does he know? We've been seen. You know, it's just one of those things of going, mate, I've been a nerd a long time.
I do feel the need to say, for me, it's the reverse. It's like the people I refer to as normies are kind of self-identifying. They're the ones who go, what you're doing is weird. Anyone who goes, I want to do this, then that, fuck it, go for it, whatever. Like, I am not exclusionary to anything, but
no,
if you go, anyone who comes in with, you're weird, then fuck it, fuck off.
Yeah.
You go do your normie shit.
I just always remember the bloke at a sci-fi convention in Australia. We're just at the urinal, and he goes, "You what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're having a sci-fi convention." He goes, "Oh yeah, you know, I like that Firefly, but not that Star Trek shit though, eh?" And it was that motor going, it was like, "You fucking geek." Good on you. Good on you.
I can love him.
But it was so funny. It was like last minute bailout attempt at being cool. Like, oh, I like Firefly. Yeah, that's the thing that bloody, you know, cool surfers like, mate. We like Firefly. We like when they swear in Mandarin. Yeah, you know. But
it almost sounds like Donald Trump when he was doing his kind of fishing expedition in the speech, and he'd go, "It's like, God, that's the thing you guys like, isn't it?" He actually said this in the speech. I'm like, I think you're giving yourself away. Perhaps that isn't your biggest love if you to go, "Oh, that's what we like, isn't it? Isn't it? Firefly, that's what you nerds like, isn't it? Is that the thing? Is that?"
I've watched that fail. That's one of the like an industry side effect of going and doing stand-up at nerd conventions is watching people who shouldn't have been booked try to do it. And that shit's amazing. You know, like someone comes out as like, "So, video games, eh? Anyway, I was I was playing football the other day, and you just watch the crowd go, nah, nah, we're leaving. You know, it's quite nice. Those people have usually been paid a lot more than I have to appear at these things, and you could just literally you watch them count the money, and the crowd sort of know. They're sort of like, oh shit, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do.
I did want to also give a shout to like the Darkroom video game. So if anything was ever designed to become a video game, of course. But tell us a bit about seeing yourself realized in 3D format.
Oh, it was very strange. Yeah, I mean, like it's this thing where this live show that like originally I did it on YouTube, and then it became a live show at the Edinburgh Fringe, and then to go, all right, we did this live parody of video games, and now it's an actual video game, and to have that, I mean, that's a journey. That's a lot of fun. I blew out my hernia doing the voice acting and the mocap for it, so it's one of those things where like literal blood and sweat and guts went into that. I started, the giveaway that had happened was to preserve my throat. I brought whiskey with me into the recording booth, and then suddenly having a lot more breaks to drink a lot more whiskey to get through the fact that my stomach is now, bloody tiger uppercutting its way out of my stomach wall. Finished that, got on the plane back, walking down the street here, and I'm like, I got to go to a doctor. God bless the NHS, fuck. Yeah, it's interesting. It's on Steam, and a hell of a journey. Like I really respect anyone involved in the craft of video game making, because at any level it's tremendously difficult, but especially indie game development, which is just the most involved, frightening shit you can imagine. Because like I like to show up with stuff, and you go, cool, plug that in, and it's working, or like when I stream, I'm like, we turned on the camera, the internet's plugged in, I've paid for it, and it works. And then you're just there like, what do you mean? What do you mean you have to change that in-engine? What does that mean? What? You can't just give me a hat? What does that mean? Like you find out that like anything takes forever. It's just insanity. But yeah, the game's currently incomplete. The first hour of it's available on Steam, and I'm talking to some lovely people here in the UK who reckon we can get it finished pretty readily. It's just one of those things of getting the cash ponied up. But fortunately, the cash that we require to finish it is infinitely less than we thought. So that's good. So we've got some lovely industry professionals in the background just talking to other people, and we'll get there. It'll eventually happen. My big ambition for that game is, one, I always wanted it to be complete because it's fucking 3.5 hours of a really intense, funny, strange experience. And it just really builds on the Darkroom in a way that the live show hasn't. Like it takes you on a story, and a story that you have to earn. Like I don't like when you play a video game and it goes, I'm going to you can see it. It's like, I'm artfully leading you here. It's like, well, not always, because now we're clearly dovetailing into the final bosses, and I can feel that, right? Whereas what this will do is it just goes, I've got a great story for you, but if you don't earn the great story bits, we're just not going to tell you they're there. Good luck. Like there are people who have been messaging me for 2 years going, oh, hey, I completed the game. And I'm like, oh yeah, show me the final screen you got. And I'm like, that's great. You just go, that's great. And what you don't tell them is it's like, cool, they just unlocked the shithead version of level 2. They don't need to know that. They don't need to know that thing's 3 screens long and they're going to get killed because they didn't go and do the thing they needed to do. That's going to be great. It'll tell them. But I'm sitting there going, thank fuck there's a delay, because that's going to be so fucking funny. Like, I did it. Here we go. John, what? No, it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Beautiful. Just quickly, before we get into a plug for what you're doing later on this week, I just quickly have to give a shout out. Tell us about Ethan.
Oh, yeah. Ethan's a good boy. Ethan is the child of one of the members of Hats Off Gentlemen, It's Adequate, the fantastic prog metal band. Prog rock. They're a prog rock band. Sorry, boys. It's one of those weird things of going, wait a second, I know Blue Gillespie, I know Hats Off Gentlemen, It's Adequate, and they're both prog something. Just got a little confused.
I think they're prog life.
Yeah, sure. Are they? Well, I'm prog choice. Anyway, this kid was very funny. One of the more well-known sequences in the Darkroom, and I say well-known, like no one really knows me, but like one of the more repetitive sections of the game is if you pick the option find light switch, you get, how will you find the light switch? You're in a dark room. You need the light switch to see. Do you see? And your options are I see, I don't see, and check pockets, right? Now, if you say I see, I get to yell, bullshit, you see. You're in a dark room, and the game will continue on. If you say I don't see, it loops back to find light switch. And young Ethan, a very small boy, realized this, and probably, this was in Sheffield, probably about 30 times in a row, took us through find light switch. I don't see. How will you find the light? We know you don't see. That is why you need to find light switch. How will you find the light? And you're just gradually, and you find yourself suddenly you've jumped off the stage, and now you're just sort of in all of your leather and your big spikes with your scary torch, you're sort of moving closer to the boy in very much a just hit the boy, just kill the boy. And then he does it again. And, and it was maddening and so fucking funny and just great. And then in the end, he let it off the hook. And it was just brilliant. Like it's one of those things where kids understand how to play and they play beautifully. And he was funny. And then what a joy it was to just kind of get back up on the really, really high stage, which was taller than he was, just about 8, I think he was at that time, and to walk over to the table of prizes and just to pick up just 30 secondhand packets of FIFA 2008 and just throw them at him. That was a great joy. That's the other thing about kids, they dodge. Oh my God. And the crack that thing made on the ground, because it was bigger than him, this pile. Bam! The FIFA ball, it was a joy. It was a real joy. And I really like that because it speaks as well to he'd become very much the adult in that situation. And it was just the joy. There's only one thing left to do, which is just try to literally kill you just by throwing this ridiculous thing. And also it was very heartening for most people in the room to realize that by having copies of FIFA 2008, the game was older than the boy. That's always good. People hate a dose of reality like that. They can feel their knees twinge, So he's great. And then the next time I saw him, because he played again. And it just seems as though at least a part of my life at the Sci-Fi Weekender is the darkroom character just trying to murder my friend's son. And because the next time we just threw him to the crowd, there we go. Toss the anteater, toss the Ethan. That was it. Just well played. Come here. Phoom. There's something about crowd surfing a 10-year-old. It's good to see.
Troubling enough, toss the Ethan is also an Australian term. But anyway, look, let's go away from that. That's just not going to go anywhere good. So.
You all right?
No, I couldn't.
I realized it half a second after I said it. And now I'm just sort of like, style this one out, Jono. No worries.
Let's just back away from that.
Very strange, yes.
So, look, later on this week, the 16th, this Friday at 6:30 on Zoom, you're going to be part of a very special event, giving we geeks and nerds something to keep us entertained during the latter phase of lockdown. Tell us a bit about what's happening.
It is Epic Nerd Night, set up by the beautiful Jim Quizzical. And if you've been to the Sci-Fi Weekender, you'll be familiar with the acts that are coming on. We've got Jim Quizzical's legendary quiz. We've got the arrival of the beautiful Jolly Boat. Those two sons of fun coming there with their great barn, just barnstorming, roof raising, pirate antics. They're funny as fuck.
Amazing.
You got me doing the dark room, and then you got DJ Level Up Leroy taking you home with only the finest songs that you remember from your childhood. And that's going to be a fuckload of fun. It's a joy to be involved. It's going to be good.
I can now say, apart from Jolly Boat, which I will get you on here, guys, all previous guests of the show, all fantastic acts. If you've heard the interviews but you haven't heard their wonderful wares, then please tune in for that. It's going to be amazing.
They're all very, very funny, interesting people. It's great.
I mean, it's a just donation of £5 per person. All money is going to the artists. So after this fuck of a year, please support artists. Please keep this ship of entertainment running. Where do they get tickets, sir?
Well, fuck, I don't know.
You can. Oh, look, I'll post it.
Hang on. Why don't I find out? Sorry. You poor love.
You can, wait. You can email.
Hold up. Go to Facebook. Right. Epic Nerd Night. That's what it's called. Epic Nerd Night. That's the nature of it, and you'll find it. There we go. Epic Nerd Night. Yeah,
And
just
if
head
you-
over to your Facebook. That's where it is. Everything's being you donate to get the Zoom link, and that all your details are there. Yeah, at Epic Nerd Night, right there on Facebook. There you go.
Or if you send epicnerdnight@hotmail.com, $5 now, you will get that link. And it's
there you go.
6:30 BST.
Well, I didn't know that. That's great.
Between us, we got there.
I'm glad. Look, I wasn't kidding about having rolled out of bed. It was one of those things of going, wow, the difficult questions are here. I don't know.
Can we just very quickly, sorry, we're over time, but just very quickly, you, Brian Blessed, on stage, mwah, tell us about that meeting of the Loud.
Oh, that was a joy. That was a bloody joy. I've always admired Brian Blessed. I saw him in Blackadder as the king. And then, of course, you see him in everything. And I got over here, and yeah, I mean, the man's a bloody legend. And he's very funny because one, he's Brian Blessed, so he's the most garrulous human being you can imagine. And he's got that great, well, I might be an old actor, but also I'm a garrulous bastard. And it's great, and the stories go off everywhere. But because he's an actor, he's a fucking pro. So he was out the back. We were just hanging out. And he wasn't really talking back. He goes, oh, cool. I normally do a sort of one-man show. But yeah, we could, I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And then we just went out. And he was great. It's just beautiful. You feed the man a line. He does the stuff. You have a great bloody time. You jump around. And I pissed myself. I bloody loved dealing with him. And he was super bloody kind afterwards as well. And the Brian Blessed compliment that I got was great because it was just this sort of great wall of noise. It was just this beautiful. Yeah. See, what I want you to understand is it was something like, I think what he said was, I have eyes and ears on all planes of reality. And I really appreciated what you did. And it was very nice. And it was his way. It was just the nicest way. It was the nicest way of him saying, I noticed that while I was telling stories, you were laughing uproariously, and thank you. He was great. He's a very, very kind, very funny, and deliciously profane gentleman. What a joy, John
Robertson, just quickly before we go, just one question which we can quickly answer. Are you going to be at Sci-Fi Weekend of 13, and have you got any plans for World Tour once this bollocks is over?
I certainly do, and I will be at Sci-Fi Weekend of 13, which is I believe the one in November. I'd better be. I'm on the poster. I will be very annoyed if I'm not booked and I'm on the poster. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be there, and that's gonna be a joy. And yeah, I've got UK live dates. UK live dates are certainly there, and they are at I'll make this happen. You can go get the live dates at look at this. I know the one that's just for me. Here you go. You can go to www.thejohnrobertson.com/live dates, and you will find me. I am going to, I'm in Oxford in October. I've got a gig in London in June. I'm going to be at the Stand in Edinburgh and the Stand Newcastle and the Stand in Glasgow in December. Yeah, lots of stuff around. So yeah, please come on by.
Also, if you missed any portion of this conversation, you can catch it on the bear.live this Thursday, 8 till 10 UK time, the Dr. Squee Show radio show, where we will chuck in some tunes and some boxy chat and stuff like that as well.
Nice.
Can't say fair. John, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been a sheer pleasure. I owe you a pint next time we meet.
Thank you, Doctor. A joy, and we shall drink heavily and heartily. And what a time we'll have. Also, I think Brian Blessed's booked for our Sci-Fi Weekend of 13 as well. So that'll be fun. We'll have a reason to drink, God damn it. Oh, what a joy.
So remember, twitch.tv/Robertron, and please join Epic Nerdy Night later on this week. Thank you very much for watching.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. And remember, guys, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind. Good night.